Jacob and Vanessa Mills were the golden couple of Aspen. He a tech tycoon worth millions and she a former model adored for her elegance, but beneath their polished facade lurked secrets so dark that one would end up buried under the snow while the other faced life behind bars. How did a glittering marriage turn into a twisted tale of betrayal, greed and murder at Aspen's most prestigious festival? Jacob Mills and Vanessa Mills were the talk of Aspen's elite circles, a couple who seemed to embody everything glamorous and desirable about high society. Jacob had made his fortune as a tech entrepreneur, building a sprawling empire that allowed him to indulge in life's finest offerings. Vanessa, a striking former model, brought an air of elegance to their shared life. Together they were a fixture in magazines, social events and charity functions, admired by those who knew them and envied by those who didn't. Their mountainside estate, the sprawling glass and stone marvel, symbolized their success, a perfect stage for the life they had built. Jacob, always gregarious and eager to share his good fortune, was the festival's long-standing sponsor. For him, the Aspen Winter Festival wasn't just a business opportunity or another social event, it was a personal celebration of the town he called home. The festival brought together the wealthy, the influential and the famous. It featured exclusive gas-silent auctions raising millions for local causes and exhilarating sports competitions. This year the event carried added significance as it marked Jacob's 50th birthday. Vanessa, his poised counterpart, appeared just as invested in the festival's success. She was deeply involved in planning and managing the luxurious charity dinner they hosted to open the week of festivities. Guests walked into an enchanted winter wonderland within the confines of the couple's grand lodge, adorned with crystal chandeliers, art installations and gourmet catering from Michelin-starred chefs. Everything seemed flawless, with attendees toasting the couple and celebrating the vibrant energy they brought to Aspen. Beneath the shimmer of perfection, however, subtle cracks in their relationship had started to form. Jacob's charm was undeniable, but whispers of infidelity occasionally circulated among their circles, always dismissed as baseless gossip. Vanessa, despite her public poise, was rumored to have grown restless, finding Jacob's workaholic tendencies at odds with the lifestyle she wanted. The surface harmony they so carefully cultivated had started to waver, but few noticed the couple was skilled at concealing whatever personal turmoil they faced behind their wealth and sophistication. As the charity dinner unfolded, Jacob made his rounds, greeting guests, laughing easily and sharing anecdotes about his entrepreneurial journey. Vanessa, poised in her designer gown, played the gracious hostess, moving effortlessly through the crowd. To all who attended, the evening was yet another testament to their seamless partnership, their undeniable influence over Aspen's social scene. But amidst the warmth of the event, a subtle tense iron lingered. Vanessa's smile seemed rehearsed and her interactions with Jacob carried a trace of coolness, noticed perhaps only by those attuned to the couple's usual dynamic. As the night wore on, many guests departed and the Mills inner circle stayed to enjoy quieter conversations by the fire. It was the last time most of them would see Jacob Mills alive. That glittering night marked the beginning of the most shocking tale Aspen had ever witnessed, unraveling everything the Mills had built and forever changing the community's view of the couple they once idolized. The Aspen Winter Festival continued with its usual fanfare, but beneath the surface unease began to spread. It started subtly, with attendees at smaller events murmuring about Jacob Mills' unexplained absence. At first many brushed it off as Jacob taking time for himself. After all, he was known for disappearing to ski on private trails. When the pressures of hosting became overwhelming, Vanessa Mills reassured those who asked, smiling easily and attributing her husband's absence to an important business matter that required his attention. Vanessa's confident demeanor helped quash suspicion, at least initially. The festival's second day progressed with its lineup of high-profile auctions and sports events, but Jacob's absence grew increasingly conspicuous. He was not one to miss key moments at a festival he so passionately supported, and by the evening his unexplained vanishing act became a topic too obvious to ignore. By the third day, whispers turned into pointed questions. Vanessa maintained her role as the poised and polished hostess, continuing to attend events as though nothing were amiss. However, her calm presence soon raised eyebrows to some. Her ability to carry on without addressing Jacob's absence seemed unnatural, even suspicious. Behind closed doors, Jacob's closest colleagues began to worry. Marcus Reed, his longtime business partner and confidant, became particularly alarmed. Jacob, ever meticulous professional, had failed to attend a critical strategy meeting scheduled weeks in advance. It was an uncharacteristic slip that Marcus could not overlook. When attempts to contact Jacob directly proved unsuccessful, Marcus took it upon himself to alert local authorities. Although the initial response was cautious, there was after all no immediate evidence of foul play. A missing person report was quietly filed. Law enforcement, keen to avoid causing a public scandal during the high-profile festival, launched an understated investigation. Detectives began by searching the Mills Grand Lodge. Despite its spacious, luxurious design, the home felt eerily empty. Jacob's belongings appeared untouched, his coat and boots still in the foyer, his phone resting on the nightstand, and no signs of rushed departure or distress. Yet there was one glaring anomaly: the lodge's extensive security camera system was missing hours of footage, specifically from the night of Jacob's last public appearance. It was an odd detail when the staff could not explain. When questioned, they claimed not to have seen Jacob after he bid farewell to guests following the charity dinner. The lack of evidence frustrated investigators, but they pressed on expanding their search. Vanessa cooperated with them, willingly providing her version of events with confidence. She claimed Jacob had mentioned going skiing alone the morning after the charity dinner, a habit he indulged when he needed solitude. Detectives found her explanation plausible enough, but something about the polished delivery of her response struck them as rehearsed. As speculation grew, festival attendees began to draw their own conclusions. Some were convinced that Jacob, under immense business pressure, had staged a quiet retreat. Others whispered darker theories, their imaginations fueled by the growing unease that gripped the normally festive atmosphere on the fourth day of Jacob Mills' mysterious disappearance. Aspen's festive atmosphere turned grim. A ski patrol officer, following routine checks on a remote trail, stumbled upon something that sent shockwaves through the community. Partially obscured beneath freshly fallen snow was a human figure. Upon closer inspection, the officer confirmed the worst: it was Jacob Mills. His lifeless body was lying in an awkward position near the base of a rocky incline, his face pale and frozen from the harsh winter conditions. Authorities were immediately alerted and the scene was cordoned off. A detailed forensic examination revealed troubling details that dispelled any notion of an accidental death. Jacob had suffered severe blunt force trauma to the back of his head, inconsistent with a fall or skiing accident. Further bruising on his forearms suggested he had struggled before his death. These findings marked the discovery as a homicide, launching an investigation of unprecedented scale in Aspen's quiet history. As news broke, the town's close-knit community reacted with shock and disbelief. This was Jacob Mills, the charming and charismatic entrepreneur whose fortune had touched countless lives. The idea of someone targeting him for murder seemed unfathomable. Whispers spread across festival events, overshadowing what was once a week of celebration. Every conversation seemed to spiral back to the same question: who would want to kill Jacob Mills, and why? Attention quickly turned to Vanessa Mills, the poised widow at the center of this tragedy. She presented herself as a grieving spouse, thanking friends and acquaintances for their support while insisting she knew nothing about her husband's violent end. However, her composed demeanor began to draw scrutiny. To outsiders, Vanessa appeared too calm, too rehearsed for someone who had just lost her partner in such a shocking manner. Detectives also noted inconsistencies in her account of the night Jacob disappeared. Her assertion that Jacob had gone skiing early in the morning after their charity dinner conflicted with evidence showing his body had been in its discovered location for nearly 36 hours, meaning he had died shortly after leaving the event. A search of the Mills property revealed what would become a key piece of evidence: a blood-stained snow shovel hidden and the garage. Forensic analysis confirmed that the blood matched Jacob's DNA. Even more damningly, fingerprints belonging to Vanessa were found on the handle. This discovery shifted the investigation's focus squarely onto her, transforming her from a figure of sympathy to the prime suspect in her husband's murder. As detectives delved deeper into the couple's life, more troubling details emerged. The Mills' supposedly idyllic marriage was far from perfect. Multiple witnesses recalled heated arguments at social, often over seemingly trivial matters, but marked by an intensity that suggested underlying issues. Whispers of financial trouble and extramarital affairs began to surface, painting a more complex picture of their relationship. What had once appeared to be an unshakable partnership was now unraveling under the scrutiny of investigators, exposing the cracks that had been hidden from public view. While the evidence against Vanessa was mounting, the motive behind such a heinous act remained elusive. Detectives needed answers, answers that could explain how a life of luxury, power and privilege had devolved into betrayal, violence and tragedy as the investigation into Jacob Mills' murder deepened. The once polished image of his marriage to Vanessa Mills began to collapse under the weight of newly uncovered truths. What initially appeared to be a loving, glamorous partnership was revealed to be fraught with tension, deceit and hidden agendas. Detectives sifted through financial records, interviewed acquaintances and pieced together a narrative that painted Vanessa in an increasingly suspicious light. Jacob's staggering fortune, built on decades of savvy investments and relentless work in the tech industry, had become a point of contention in their marriage. Despite his wealth, Vanessa's financial habits were revealed to be unsustainable. Luxurious vacations, rare jewelry and high-stakes investments had drained her personal accounts, leaving her with mounting debts that Jacob allegedly refused to cover. Prenuptial agreement, signed before their marriage, ensured she would be left with relatively little in the event of a divorce. Friends described how the couple frequently argued over money, with Jacob insisting on frugality and Vanessa pushing for a more lavish lifestyle. These financial woes became a cornerstone of the investigators' theory. Was Vanessa motivated by a desire to escape her financial troubles? The possibility became more plausible as detectives uncovered Vanessa's clandestine relationship with a younger man. This mysterious lover, charismatic artist from Europe, had been in sporadic contact with Vanessa for months leading up to Jacob's murder. Emails, encrypted messages and photographs revealed a passionate affair that Jacob was seemingly unaware of. More damningly, travel records confirmed the lover had flown into Aspen just days before Jacob disappeared. With this discovery, detectives hypothesized that Vanessa may have plotted her husband's death to secure his fortune and start a new life with her lover. However, despite the circumstantial evidence, they still lacked the crucial link tying her directly to the crime. The key lay in understanding how Jacob's body ended up in the secluded location where it was found and why the security footage at the lodge had conveniently gone missing. The breakthrough came when Vanessa's bank transactions were examined. A suspicious payment made to an independent technician hinted at foul play. Upon further inquiry, it was revealed that Vanessa had hired the technician to erase specific footage from the lot of surveillance system. Though she claimed this was part of routine maintenance, the timing raised red flags. Investigators deduced that this footage likely contained evidence of Jacob's final movements and potentially his murder. Another unsettling discovery was made in Vanessa's phone records. GPS data placed her near the site where Jacob's body was found on the night he vanished. Forensic evidence, including the bloody snow shovel, bolstered the theory that the crime had been premeditated rather than a moment of impulsive violence. Public opinion began to shift rapidly against Vanessa as these revelations came to light. The once admired socialite now seemed like a cold and calculating figure who had orchestrated an elaborate plan to rid herself of a husband who no longer fit into her aspirations. Yet Vanessa maintained her innocence, portraying herself as a victim of circumstantial evidence and malicious speculation. But the cracks in her story were too deep, and the pressure mounting against her was too intense for anyone to ignore. The trial of Vanessa Mills became the most highly anticipated legal spectacle Aspen had ever witnessed. Media outlets from across the nation descended on the small mountain town, broadcasting the drama of a murder case that had everything: wealth, betrayal, a charismatic victim and a beautiful, enigmatic suspect. In the courtroom, Vanessa, cut an imposing figure dressed immaculately in designer clothing, her expression unreadable. She maintained her innocence, her attorneys arguing she was a victim of circumstantial evidence. And an overzealous investigation. The prosecution, however, had built a formidable case. They presented forensic evidence, financial records and testimony from witnesses who claimed to have seen the cracks in the Mills' seemingly perfect marriage. The centerpiece of the prosecution's argument was the bloody snow shovel found in the Mills' garage. The DNA evidence linking it to Jacob and Vanessa's fingerprints on its handle were damning. Prosecutors described a deliberate and chilling sequence of events. Vanessa, after years of resentment and financial struggles, lured Jacob to a remote area under the guise of a romantic ski outing. There she struck him with the shovel, ensuring his death before staging the scene to look like a tragic accident. Adding to the mounting evidence was the testimony of the technician Vanessa had hired to erase the lodge's surveillance footage. Under oath, the technician admitted Vanessa had been explicit in her request to remove all trace of footage from the night of Jacob's disappearance. The deleted Recordings likely captured Jacob's departure from the property, tying Vanessa's timeline to his final hours. While the footage itself was unrecoverable, the very act of tampering was a key piece of evidence against her. The courtroom grew tense when the prosecution revealed its most explosive testimony yet. Vanessa's lover, after initially refusing to cooperate with investigators, eventually came forward under the weight of evidence implicating him as an accomplice. In a street confession, he admitted to conspiring with Vanessa to murder Jacob. He described how she had planned the crime, meticulously outlining every detail to ensure it would look like a tragic accident. His account corroborated the prosecution's theory implicating Vanessa as the mastermind. Vanessa's defense team tried to discredit the lover, painting him as a jealous and unreliable figure looking to save himself by throwing her under the bus. They argued that his testimony was self-serving, filled with inconsistencies, and designed to deflect attention from his role in the crime, but the jury was visibly swayed by the combined weight of the physical evidence and his testimony. After weeks of gripping courtroom drama, the jury delivered its verdict. Vanessa Mills was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Her lover, having cooperated with authorities, received a reduced sentence for his role in the conspiracy. The trial's conclusion brought a measure of closure, but the community remained haunted by the shocking events. Jacob Mills, once the heart of Aspen's philanthropic scene, was remembered for his generosity and warmth. His legacy overshadowed by the dark betrayal that had ended his life. The tragedy served as a sobering reminder of how appearances can mask even the deepest fractures, and how greed and resentment can shatter lives no matter how charmed they may seem. Finding this tool useful? Bookmark us. For easy and fast access, bookmark this silly little tool. Looks like you found the transcript you needed. Before you head off, did you know you can bookmark our site? Just click the star, Tittle on the top bar. That way, next time you need a transcript, you can find us easily without searching again. Super handy, right?